The Roman Empire was once the most powerful empire in the world. Its territory stretched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. But even the greatest empires faced challenges. Today, we will explore how the Roman Empire came to an end, and we will learn some important English words along the way. At its largest, the Roman Empire was so big that it was difficult to control. Imagine having to manage lands and people from Britain all the way to Egypt. The Romans had a strong army, clever leaders, and impressive cities. For hundreds of years, they kept their empire safe. But in the 3rd century AD, problems began. One of the biggest problems was the arrival of new groups at the borders. These groups, such as the Germanic tribes, were looking for new places to live. They came from the north and east, and they began to attack Roman towns and villages. We call these attacking groups a threat. A threat is something that can cause harm or danger. Because of this threat, the leaders of Rome worried about the safety of the empire. They needed a strong army to defend against the invaders, but soldiers need to be paid. To get more money for the army, the government increased taxes. Taxes are payments that people make to the government. With higher taxes, people had less money to spend on their families. Even with more money, Rome's problems did not go away. The empire became so big that it was hard for one person to rule everything. Some leaders decided to hire soldiers from outside Rome. These hired soldiers are called mercenaries. A mercenary is someone who fights for money, not for loyalty to the country. Many of these mercenaries were Germans. While they helped the army, they did not always care about Rome's future. At this time, the empire faced a crisis. A crisis is a very difficult situation. The government was weak, the army was not strong, and the people were unhappy. It seemed like things could fall apart at any moment. One emperor, Diocletian, wanted to fix the crisis. He was a clever leader who tried new ideas. He created something called the Tetrarchy. In this system, 4 rulers shared power. The idea was that 4 people could manage the empire better than one. Diocletian also made new laws and tried to make the government stronger. His changes helped for a while, but they did not solve all the problems. The crisis continued. As the years passed, the Roman army became weaker. The soldiers were not well trained, and many were mercenaries who did not care about Rome. In the year 378, a very important battle happened. The Battle of Adrianople. The Visigoths, a Germanic tribe, fought against the Romans. In this battle, the Visigoths defeated the Romans. To be defeated means to lose a fight or battle. The defeat at Adrianople was a big shock. The Romans realized they could no longer defend all their land. The empire was in danger. After the battle, a new emperor named Theodosius came to power. He understood that Rome could not win every fight. Instead of fighting, he tried to make a compromise. A compromise is an agreement where each side gives something up to find peace. Theodosius allowed the Visigoths to live inside the Roman Empire. This was a big change. Instead of fighting, the Romans accepted that they had to share their land. The compromise was not perfect, but it helped keep peace for a little while. But Rome's problems were not over. The empire was still too big and too difficult to control. In the year 395, Theodosius made a final decision. He split the empire into 2 parts, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. To split means to separate something into parts. The Western Empire had its capital in Rome, while the Eastern Empire's capital was in Constantinople. The split was a signal that the empire was no longer united. United means together as one. Now the empire was divided. This made it even harder to defend against threats. The Western Roman Empire continued to face attacks from Germanic tribes and other groups. Its army was weak, and its leaders could not solve the crisis. Over time, cities were destroyed, trade stopped, and people became poorer. In the year 476, the last emperor of the West was removed from power. Historians say this was the official end of the Roman Empire in the West. But the Eastern Roman Empire continued for many more years. It became known as the Byzantine Empire and lasted until 1453. Still, the fall of the Western Roman Empire was one of the most important events in history. Let's review the key words we learned today. Problem, something that needs to be solved. Threat, something dangerous. Taxes, money people pay to the government. Crisis, a very difficult time. Mercenary, a soldier who fights for money. Defeated, lost a fight or battle. Compromise, an agreement where both sides give something up. Split, separated into parts. United, together, not separate. Signal, a sign of something. The end of the Roman Empire happened because of many reasons. There were threats from outside, problems inside the government, and a weak army. The leaders tried to fix the crisis, but their solutions only slowed the decline. The defeat at Adrianople was a turning point, and the compromise with the Visigoths showed that Rome could no longer control everything. When Theodosius split the empire, it was a signal that the glory days of Rome were over. The fall of Rome teaches us important lessons about history. Empires can be strong, but they need good leaders, a strong army, and happy people. When problems are not solved, even the greatest empires can fall. Thank you for joining this lesson about the end of the Roman Empire. We learned about history and new English words. Remember to practice saying these words: problem, threat, taxes, crisis, mercenary, defeated, compromise, split, united, signal. The story of Rome is long and complex, but today you learned some of the most important moments. Keep studying, keep learning, and remember, history helps us understand the world and improve our English skills. See you next time.